XML file. That is what we understood yesterday, right? So whenever we have list of values or list data type, so how we are going to configure in the XML file the data when bean object is created and the values of list has to be injected into your bean object, then how we are configuring those values into beans XML file. So list tag we are using as part of the property tag. So why we are using property tag here? To achieve setter injection, for the purpose of setter injection. So we are injecting, our container is injecting, okay. So we are expecting container has to inject values by using setter methods. So that's why we are calling it as setter injection. So to achieve this all functionality, what is the property we have to use? Property tag we have to use. The XML tag is property tag. So as part of the property tag, we configured list tag, and again as part of the list, we configure respective string values. Whatever the list you taken, based on that you configure the list of values inside the property. Okay. So yeah. So online people, any problem with my voice? You are able to hear me clearly, right? Okay. So whoever is having problem, please try to rejoin or whatever it is. It's problem from your side then. So others are able to hear. Okay. So come back. Now, for example, so if I want to inject list of, when I take any data type called as list of double, so can we inject or not? For example, if I take an array list of string, food items I taken. So if I taken one more property, okay, list of double values I taken here. So can I take double? Yes. I can take any data type, whatever I want with respect to Java language point of view. Okay. So now what I have to do I need to provide setter method this property or not? Yes. If you want to choose setter injection 100%, we have to provide the setter method. So let me write down setter getter method for this one also. So we are taking set source generate setter getter for the prices. Okay, one setter method, one getter method is created for the prices. So how we are going to configure these values into the XML file? Assume you are expecting price values has to be injected into order object whenever you are creating multiple bean objects or whenever you are creating bean object. So then some values has to be injected, that too with respect to list data type. So what we have to do now? So yesterday we take an array list. Now what about the list? Same, yes, exactly. Because array list is an implementation to the list interface. So we can take even, okay, linked list also in this space, or you can take array list or linked list, okay, or list also directly. So container will inject the values inside the list property. Now my question here it is, okay, yesterday we take an array list, Spring Bean Spring container injected values into array list object. But today I taken reference is list. So, but can we create object? Not only me, anyone can create object for the list. No, then how we are taking here and how bean is going to be created, or how bean values for the prices going to be injected into list of double value. So how it will happen? Just, is it going to happen or not? No. So it's an interface. Interface can hold any objects. Can we create object for the interfaces? No. Can we store any values inside the interface then as part of instance variables or else? No, right? So then how things are happening with respect to prices? Nothing. In this case, by default, array list object they are creating internally. Which object? Yes. Internally, their Spring framework will create array list object internally for the prices value what we are going to configure in the XML file. So here, what we are going to do, we are going to create one more property tag. And what is the property name? Prices. And how we are going to configure the values? Yes, same list you have to use, whether it is a linked list, array list, whatever it is, or list interface also, you have to use same list tag. And what are the values? So price values, double data type we taken. So we have to follow the double rules here. The double data type rules we have to follow here. Okay, so now tell me what is happening. The property prices belongs to what data type? So yeah, property belongs to list of double data type. So but list is a interface. But how container creating object for the list of double values, what you configured, whatever the values you configured as part of the property tag. So how these values are getting created? Yeah, internally simple. Very so what Spring framework will do, they will take these values and they are configuring which object? A array list object they are creating, and that array list is being assigned to the property of. So internally they are creating array list, and this array list is assigned to prices property. So finally in the prices level you will contain array list object. So that is how, even though wherever you see list directly in the properties level, okay, where as a data type, you cannot confuse like, okay, list is an interface. We cannot inject values into insert interface, or we cannot create object for the interface. Maybe if you are thinking such a way, yeah, both Java point of view, that's fine. But internally what container is doing or Spring Framework is doing, so it is taking these values as array list of values, and whatever the array list of objects created, that object is being injected into this property called as, I mean, that object is being configured as part of the prices level. You got the point here? Yeah. So here, so what is that? Another one, prices. So are you guys started practicing the stream API? So yesterday also, even couple of students taken interviews, okay, in my company also, okay, my company people, they taken the interviews. In 2 interviews I observed, in 2 interviews, minimum 2-3 questions they asked about the stream API, only stream API. They're not asking about the regular for loops. They're asking, they're giving a employee object, okay, multiple employee objects, and they're asking like, I want employees greater than 20,000. I want employees less than 10,000. I want employees who joined after 2011, who joined before 2011. So like that, you have to perform all the operations by using what? Stream API. So in Stream API, you have 2-3 concepts. Okay, just you need to focus on those things. And it is little bit tricky also, but you have to do a lot of practice. Otherwise, it's very difficult nowadays to crack Java interviews. Okay. Yeah, filter methods, all these things. So filter methods will be called as intermediate operators, or something like terminated methods. You have so many processes. Okay. So how to take care of those things and all, you have to worry about it. Okay. So please take care, guys. Otherwise, it's very difficult to crack the, okay, interviews and everything. So there are a lot of methods available, terminated methods and everything. Otherwise, it's very difficult. So what is these values? Yeah, whatever the values we configured inside the beans XML file as part of the double data type, and you got those values from the order one object, and I'm able to print the order one values. See the difference between regular approach and versus Stream API approach. So how much logic it is reducing, and not only here, when you are doing some little bit complex operations on top of collection objects, the Stream API is going to give you a lot of performance, and with respect to coding wise also, it will give you very precise coding when comparing with our regular old approaches. So if I want to print values by using Stream API, this is the approach you are going to follow generally. Okay, if it is, this is a regular approach, what you know from the Java 5, 6, 7 onwards. But these are all things all involved from the 8 onwards. So that's why yesterday itself I told you, please start practicing only by using streams wherever you are getting a chance to utilize for loop situation. So don't use for loops in the situation. Try to utilize in their Stream API. Okay, so please concentrate on Stream API. Otherwise, it's very difficult for you only. But Stream API is part of core Java. I don't know how much importance they explain you whether it is important or not. Okay. So fine. Is it clear with list of double values? Now similarly, can we configure any values inside the bean or not? So with respect to list data type. Okay. Okay. So now I will take few more examples related to set and hash map, and we will try to move to other part also. So we are done with the list of values, right? We are done with the list of values. The two primitives as well as string data type we taken. And when it comes to set, in case if you are having set data type values, how you are going to configure inside the XML file to inject those values into property level. So how we are going to configure? For example, private set. Can I take new example? Let me take new. At least I'll take new package. Okay, private integer IDs. So this is all we know. Private string name. Even this is also you know. So here I'm trying to take the set of values. Okay, give me any idea? Yeah, subjects. Yes, I thought of taking same thing. Okay, string I'm taking. So probably we will always have unique subjects only, right? Okay, so I have these three properties. I have to inject values for these three properties by using setter injection. So what we have to do first and foremost thing is to achieve the setter injection, what we need? Setter method. So that's why 100% we have to write down the setter methods. Okay, fine. So now this class is eligible for setter injection or not? Yes. And whenever I yesterday explained you, okay, the setter injection, how it is happening in the background. First, object will be created with default values. So that means created with default values in the sense which constructor it is utilized internally? Yes, default constructor. Please remember this point. Okay, default constructor, it is being used in the background. Oh, fine. So then after that, yes, respective setter methods will be called based on the properties what you configured in the XML file. Okay, only respect to setter methods. Those setter methods will be called, right? Fine. Now tell me, for example, I'm asking you, you just use your knowledge. So now is it going to achieve setter injection or not? Okay, now with the current logic, whatever I have implemented in the student class, is it going to achieve setter injection or not? Why? Sorry? Okay. Sorry, not private. I thought of giving public. Okay, now tell me. Now, yes, because internally it is using what? Default constructor to create the object with the default values. Now, for example, I return integer ID or something like this. Now tell me, this class student, whatever the student class I'm going to achieve constructor injection, sorry, setter injection now, is it going to, we are going to get setter injection successfully or not? So if you observe here the statement, that's why I told you. So object will be created with the default means it is always going to take internally default constructor. So now our class contains any default constructor? No. At least compiler is going to add constructor to your Java class now? No. Because compiler, when it will add, when you are not defined any constructor, whether it is a default or parameterized, then only compiler will add a dummy default constructor to the dot class level. But today we define our own constructor with one property. So compiler will not touch your constructors. Compiler will not add any constructors. But internally setter method, when you are achieving the setter injection, it is going to create always object with default values. It doesn't mean whenever it is default values, in the sense internally it is using default constructor. So right now we don't have any default constructor. So whether bean object creation is going to happen or not, we will try to observe. Okay, let me create a bean object for the which class now? Yes, ID equal to, I will give something like student1 and class equal to, so the package name is important. Dot student. Okay, how to configure values? Property, I give an ID. Second, total 3, we take an ID, name, subjects. So can we follow any order here? Is it important to follow order? So can I just like that, I can place in any order? Yeah, no need to depend on the order what you have to take properties and all. So now with respect to student name we taken, yes. Okay, what is the name? Just provide a single name string value point of view. And when it comes to subject, is it only single value? No, is it set of values, list data type, I mean collection data type. So how to pass values for this? Yes, you have to use this time set you have to use. So Spring Framework provided a child tag called as set tag as part of the property, and you just need to use here and you need to pass the values. So what we taken something, I will take like programming languages point of view. Okay, so total how many values are expecting to be created in the set now? Set level. Now guess internally when you are given set here, what they might have taken internally by default, set is an interface. We cannot create object, we cannot keep anything in the set interface directly. So what you have to take then internally, an object, implemented class object. So they taken internally hash set and they are putting these values into hash set and they are creating hash set, and that hash set is being referred to this subject variable. So this is all internal process. Now okay, so how many values finally in the set level, how many values will be available? Generally think in core Java point of view here. Total 4. Java, Python, CPP, C. What about this small j? Is it small j is equal to capital J? So then, yeah, that's what I given small j. See, when you are choosing interview question, you know the answer, it will not maintain duplicate. Because of one small lowercase, so many people told like 4. In the option, you will have 3, 4, 5 like that. One answer unnecessarily you kept wrong. So that's what clean observation is very important. And you know the subject also, but sometimes a small observation, if you're not observing properly, your subject is becoming useless in that situation. Is it true or not? Unnecessarily you're losing 1 mark, or unnecessarily you're making one question as a wrong question, wrong answer point of. Okay, so fine. Let me execute this now. Let me take a main method here separately. String dependency injection. So how to create object for the container? Yes, we can take application context, and for that we have to take the implemented classes called as file system XML application context. Okay, here we can provide the XML file path. So go to properties, right click on the file, properties, copy from here and pass it to the container argument constructor level. Okay, that's all you have to do. Okay, now whenever this line number 10 is executed, okay, automatically the student object will be created or not. Leave about the previous things. Okay, just think only in the student point of view. So whenever this XML file is loaded, okay, so automatically, can I create one more XML file if I want? Yes, it's up to our choice. Okay, let's consider this point of view only, or else let's do one thing. I will take a new one. Okay, is that fine? So I just created new XML file and we just created only student point of view, and I will rename -2 I will give here. Okay. So now when line number 10 is executed, immediately what it will try to do internally? The bean, it will try to open the 2.xml file and it will try to create bean object for the student. Okay. So when it comes to student point of view, so it is trying to create the student objects. Now what it will do is, by following these principles or by following internally this kind of rules, it will try to create object with the default constructor when you are choosing which option? Setter injection point of view, because you are using what? Property tags. Then it will feel like, okay, these guys are expecting setter injection. Let me create object for the student by using first a default constructor. But when it goes to the student, do we have default constructor now? No, you have single one parameterized constructor. You don't have any default constructor, right? So what you have to do in such case now? Okay. So let's see here. First of all, what we need to observe here it is the bean object is created or not. So this is very internal details I'm explaining you. Okay. See here. What is the problem now? Bean creation exception. Error creating bean with name student1. Whatever you given in the XML file. Defined in this on-so XML file 2.xml. Nested exception is bean instantiation exception. That means it is unable to instantiate, failure to instantiate. The reason is what? No default constructor found. So that is the reason. So that's why yesterday onwards I'm telling you internally what is happening is it is going to create always an object with the default values, in the sense it is using default constructor. Now what is the new point you understood now? To achieve setter injection, however setter method is required, 100% we need a default constructor as part of the class also. So to achieve setter injection now, how many rules you have to follow? When you are having a Java class or bean class, so if you are trying to create that bean object with some setter injection values, then what are the two things you have to follow as part of that class? One is maintaining the setter method, and as well as one default constructor you have to maintain as part of the class. If, for example, tomorrow, if someone else given this kind of coding, okay, someone else given this one, and if they are asking you, can I configure setter injection for this class or not? Yes or no? No. So then immediately we can answer, even if you want, you can keep this constructor. But only thing is, what is the rule? Maintaining one default constructor. That is what the rule here. Whether you will maintain other constructors, it doesn't matter for the Spring framework or container. It is always uses what? A default constructor. Now tell me, I added a default constructor. So the bean object will be created or not? Yes. So see here, run as Java application. See, now it is created. Number format exception. We will see this. This is a different. Okay. So what is the number format exception? Somewhere we given something wrong. Integer ID name. Yeah, XML level. String name. Set is also string, right? Yeah. A value we are not given anything. Good. Okay. So see here, student ID, I'm giving something like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. This is what? It is taking as a empty string and it is trying to convert as integer internally by the container. That's why you got what? Number format exception, because you give an empty string. So it's all configuration problem. So finally, now what is the point you understood here? So do we need a default constructor or not? Yes, that's the point you need to remember. So these are all internal things, guys. I don't know how much you will understand, how much you are practicing to keep these points in your mind again and again. You have to do a lot of practice. Otherwise, you will forget these things. So you will simply feel like, okay, I have a class, I can configure setter injection. But if you are missing this point, then there is no setter injection. Now, similarly, do you need setter methods or not? Even though you have default constructor, you need setter methods. See, now I am trying to create bean object. Now again, it is failed, bean object creation. The reason is you are expecting to inject values of set values into bean object student one. But what you did in the student, we removed, I did not maintain any setter method for the set of string values. So that's why bean creation is failed. So let's add setter method here, save it. Now again, your bean object will be created. So is that clear now? So maintaining setter method, maintaining the default constructor as part of the class is very important when you want to achieve setter injection. Okay. So with respect to set value, is it clear now? Okay. Now let's print student data. Context dot get what bean and followed by the bean ID what we given student one. Okay. It is going to return object type. So if you want, you can typecast it directly to the student. Get subjects. Let's do one thing. Okay, so Java, Python, Java, CPP, C, total 5 values. So same set behavior we are seeing or not? Let me add a duplicate value also. So now again, how many values? How many values you will see finally in the set level? Yes, 5 only. Even though you given the duplicates in the XML file, okay, it will not throw any exception. Simply it will override the things. Now again, you can see total 5 values only. So is it clear now with respect to set? You can try for the same thing, set of string, all wrapper classes. You can try here as part of this set. Is that okay for you? Okay, let's move to the map point of view here. So you are just following this approach, and what you are doing, you are configuring set tag as part of the property tag. Okay, so you just take it as for wrapper classes. Why I am calling it as wrapper classes? Why not primitives? What is the reason? In the generics level, can we give primitives? So we can give only wrappers. That's why I use this word here. Okay, so let's come back to the map point of view. Okay, when you are having just directly values, we are maintaining either list or set. List is all about to maintain the duplicate values. Set is all about to maintain unique values. Based on the requirement, we will use. Now, in case any reason you have a concept of configuring key value pairs. Configuring key value pairs of data. Then what is the concept we have? Yes. Generally, collection framework provided a concept called as map concept. As part of hash map, we can maintain data as key comma value pairs. Right? Key value pairs data we can maintain. How to configure in this case? Okay. Okay, let's open the student only. I will add map property here only. Okay. So now you are comfort with setter injection or not? So with respect to primitives and collections, I don't need to go back again, and I will not explain again these points, what is happening in the background. From last 3 days, I'm making these points to understand it very clearly and practical point of view. Okay. Now onwards, simply I will tell you like it will use default constructor, something like that with respect to setter injection. But please remember these 2 points. How to get jar Spring jar files. So Manjul, I just given in the document. Okay. So even in the Google Drive, I uploaded material. So in the material, you will have a link, a Google Drive link. You just download from there. Don't worry about from other resources. Or I will introduce a new solution also. Maybe meanwhile you can download from my Google Drive what available in the material. Now second point, let's go back to the map point of view. So let's define a map property here. Okay, I'm taking string followed by double. I'm going to take subject and respective marks or something like that, or grade. Yeah, marks only you can take. Okay, so I have this concept now. So what I'm going to take, keys are string values and values are double data type. So I'm going to configure these values inside the beans XML file in case whenever you have a requirement of injecting values of map data type, whether you are going with the setter injection. So what we have to do is, let's go back to the configuration of XML file. And here you can take a new property. See, in the same bean we are taking. In the same bean, same student object. Or else can I create one more student object? Yes. So let me do one thing, copy paste. But you don't copy paste, guys. Please make hands on. Okay, so for time saving, I'm making it student to student. And I'm just maintaining all these details as part of student to also, same subjects. And here his name, let's take it as Naresh. ID, I will take like something 2222. Okay, so until how many properties you configured here? 3 properties you configured. For the same student to, I want to configure marks also, the map value. So how you are going to configure? So what is the name you have to provide here always? The property name of your Pojo class, what you taken. So subject marks, this is the property you have to take from here and you have to take as part of the property name. So for this property, is it direct value or map values? It's not single value. It's a collection data type called as map data type. So how we are going to handle in this scenario, or how you are going to configure values as part of the map data type, let's try to understand. So by default array list, if you want to inject other list implemented, then you need to define here, okay, linked list, something like that. Okay, but at the same time, you just need to think the Spring framework supporting all the classes injection point of view. So if you want to use other than a, okay, then you have to directly use linked list here. If you don't want to go with the list interface, then you have to directly use like array list or linked list here. Then you can inject only via linked list point of view. But sometimes it doesn't. Okay, now you need to remember one more point also. So it doesn't mean like Spring will provide all the solutions for the all the data types. They will always automate the things which we are using more and more in our real-time programming. It's not like they will automate for every collection classes, whatever you want, the bean injection with respect to collection data types, they may be automated or they may not be automated. So that's why sometimes you may see surprises. It may work for array list and linked list. It may not work for other things. Okay, because the reason is Spring is giving only functionalities. Generally in real-time projects, whenever it comes to in our mind list point of view, what it will come immediately? Array list it will come, right? So that is how the more and more what people will use in real-time projects, those things will be automated by the framework. It's not like framework will automate everything, whatever the problems you are having in the core and advanced Java, or you are having whatever the classes or concepts you are having in the core Java, everything is done by the Spring framework. No, it's not like that. But the things what you are doing on daily basis, more and more, those things definitely automated by the Spring framework. Okay. So let's come back with respect to map. So do we need setter method or not? Yes. Let's create setter method for this also. Okay, I just created this one also. I have setter getter methods. Let's go to the beans XML file, how to configure. So simple, they provided for list to list, for set to set. Similarly here, yes, map. So as part of the map, how we are making the entries generally? Key comma values. So now go to the child tag. Expect a child tag from the map tag. So what is the child tag is? If you see here, what is this entry tag you have? So as part of the entry tag, you can configure the values. What is this? Key. And what is the key you can use? String data type we taken, right? So let's take something like this. Value, something I can give like you are getting 100. Okay, fine. Similarly, how many entries you can maintain in? You can maintain any entries. Yeah, I'm maintaining. So Java, so something I will take Python. Or you can take directly here also attribute. So it's go directly here. No need to go with this, all these things. Entry. So property you can use. Key equal to. So what is the key? Java subject, I mean string value. You can give any string value and followed by value. Okay, value, let me give something like 99, whatever it is. It's a ending tag. You know this, right? Okay, so now it's all about making multiple entries as part of your map. Okay, so now CPP, let me keep some different values. Okay, so tell me how many entries will be made in the map level now? Four entries will be made. Why? The reason is we are maintaining duplicate key. So called as Java. Then what is the value? Is it 99 will be available or 55 will be available? Yes, the latest value will be overridden in the key point of view. Sorry, value point of view. So this is our expectation as per our Java language, right? So let's see, same thing is by followed by the Spring framework also or not. Why you can see null? Why null? Guess? Yes. Thank you. At least few people are going understanding. I mean, observing. So we are accepting generally here which bean object you got? Student one. But for student one, are we injected any values related to hash map? No. That's why it is not calling any setter method internally and it's not setting any value. So that's why what you see here, null for the property called as subject marks. So what is the default value for the subject marks? Null. So that's why you can see only null in this space. For whom? Student one point of view. If you taken same behavior for the student two now, student two. But for student two, we given subjects as well as marks also, subject marks also we given. So I'm reusing subject reference again here. But you are getting object of being student two into student reference. Okay, let's execute now. It's all about student two data. Okay, you can see the data for student or not. So what is the latest value you saw for the Java? So what that is what our expectation also, right? So Java latest value we configured as 55. So the key value which is you maintained by the 99 earlier, it is replaced by the 55. That behavior we already know in Java point of view. So same behavior can you see or not? Yes, key equal to value paste data. You got map object and everything is configured by the Spring framework internally by using setter injection pointer. So any doubts until this point? Can we move to the next? Yeah, I answered this question. Okay. Okay. So can we move to the next point? Yeah. So let's come back. What are the data types we had earlier? I mean, we discussed. So we are now we know how to configure primitive values, right? We know how to configure string value, and we know how to configure the predefined classes called as array list, hash set, hash map, all these things, right? Now let's come back to the user defined classes point of view, how we are going to configure the values. Okay, and even with respect to predefined classes point of view, okay, we may have non-collection values, right? So these are all collection framework classes. Maybe we may have other classes, but the same concept representing here also. Only thing is, maybe the class you are using, you created, or else the class is created by the Spring or Java, that will be called as predefined. But finally, concept here it is injecting class references or objects. So what kind of data type you are going to inject now here it is the other class references or other class objects into current class point of view. So injecting other class references or objects, that is what we need to focus here. And this is what mostly being used in most of the projects, or maybe everywhere mostly we will use this concept. But even some of the scenarios we will go with the primitives, all these things also, but more and more is all about injecting objects into another objects is all about the how we are going to achieve. That is what concept we need to focus here more and more. Sanjay, I'm audible to everyone. Okay, it's problem from your end. Just take care of you. Okay. Okay. So let's come back. In case if it is a class references, what you have to do? How we are going to inject other class references, other class objects. So how you are going to maintain in this case? Okay, let's take a scenario and then we will try to implement everything. Okay, now assume, let me take a scenario, then we will try to implement same thing. I have a class called as college student, college class. Okay, so inside college, I have defined a property called as student like this. Can I define like this? First of all, yes, as a Java point of view, I can do anything, right? So I have a class called as student here. So I have a class called as student. I have some properties here, like, okay, ID, comma, name, comma, something, only subjects or whatever marks you taken as of now. Same class I can use also if you want. So assume same student class. Now my point here it is, when I'm creating college class, okay, when I'm implementing the college class, internally I'm taking some other purpose, the requirement point of view, I'm taking which class as a property, student class as a property I taken as part of class level. So now, whenever I configured student in the beans XML file, do you know the process now? I have a beans XML file now. So do you know how to configure student? Only student. Yes, we are already done, right? As of now, we configured so many examples. So you know with respect to student, okay, for the bean you will create, you will configure the student, that you know that. But when it comes to the second bean, what is that? College. But here, what is the problem? Even problem, not a problem. So here I have assumed college name as a string data type, even student something, or you can take some location or whatever it is. So you know, if you want to configure value for the name, what you will do? You will take simply property tag and then followed by name equal to so the college name, whatever you given variable name, so that you will give, and followed by the respective value you will provide. Value equal to, so you will use some ABC college or whatever it is, right? This is what you will follow. But now similarly, okay, setter injection I'm expecting for the college name property. But what about the, I want to inject in this specific scenario a student object. Whatever I created here, for example, assume I created a student one object here. Okay, I created which bean ID I given as what? Student one. Now, my expectation is this student one has to be injected into college by using which concept? Yeah, dependency injection, that too, setter injection. Yes, dependency injection. Out of dependency injection, it's all about the setter injection point of view. The same student object, student one object has to be injected into college bean object by using setter method. So how I'm going to inject in this case? So in this case, generally property we will use, even though it is any data type, to achieve setter injection. What is the property we have to use? So to achieve the setter injection, to enable the setter injection for a property, what is the tag we have to use? Property tag only, always property tag. Only thing is where it is changing. Is it changing anything at name level also? No. So what is the name here? Yes, student name. Whatever you define this property here, it will be configured as part of the property name level. Okay, fine. So let me give student here. Fine. When it comes to value point of view, so I'm going to give value. So is it like single value generally? Is it like Dilip? Or is it just like 1, 2, 1, 3, 4? No, right? So what is this property? Student belongs to what is the data type? So you need to observe the data type now. This is not a primitive. This is not a string. This is not a collection data type. It's a user defined class. It's a class. Simply it is a class. Okay. That too, it's a data type belongs to student data type. A student class. Then how you are going to pass the value here? Okay, yeah. So whatever the student one you are going to configure here, yeah, someone given the answer, it's almost similar. Only thing is small change will happen here, but I will tell you. But yeah, the guess is good. So what you have to do, the student one object, what you created as a bean object, that you have to pass here. So that means you are telling to the Spring container, whatever you created bean object for this student class called as student one, that should be injected into this college. And as part of the value, what we are going to inject is student one object, student one. So what is the student one here? What is the student one here? Bean object of student. Bean object of student. So here only thing is in place of value, you will use a attribute called as ref attribute. So in place of value, Spring framework given a new attribute called as what? REF ref. Ref is means what? Reference. So very simple. Now just think. Now you are configuring in the Spring XML file, Beans XML file, like, okay, container, whenever you are trying to create object for the college, you just set college name as ABC College. And whenever you are setting value for the student, please inject student one object into, okay, college object level. So that means you are just telling like, go and refer the student one object into college level. Go and refer the which object? Student one object. So referring internally, now container, what it is doing? Referring student object of student one. Referring student object of student one. That is what the meaning of ref attribute here it is. Now, which student object is injected bean object into college level? Ref attribute based on the value you given. Bean ID of student object you have to pass. What is the attribute you have to use here? To inject other class objects, what is the attribute we have to use? Ref attribute. So what is the value for ref attribute? Is it class name or is it bean class name or is it bean ID? Yes, it will be bean ID. So that is how you are going to achieve this kind of dependency injection. Okay, the dependency injection in between classes or dependency injection in between that other objects point of view. And I told you one more point, dependency injection can be achieved in between bean objects. Okay, both these should be belongs to bean classes. Even student also you have to configure. For example, now you say, sir, I return student class. Okay, I return college like this, which is having a dependency of student, but I did not configure. You are not configured student in the beans XML. So that means student is becoming as a bean class or bean object. No, you are not at all configured anything related to student. So student is not at all a bean class or bean object. I mean, bean object will not be created by the container because it's not a bean class. Now, this dependency injection is possible in between college versus student? No. So that is, you cannot use this property. In that such case, you cannot use this property. The reason is what? Why you cannot use? To achieve that, you have to use a tag attribute called as ref attribute. What is the value of ref attribute? Bean ID of the dependency class. But do you have any bean IDs here? Then how can you achieve? So that's why the dependency injection, if you want to achieve dependency injection, in between which objects you can achieve, both should belong to the beans object or bean objects or bean classes. Then only you can achieve the dependency injection in between multiple objects. So let's take same scenario and let's try to implement it. Okay, I'm creating a new project. Spring dependency injection and that to setter with references. Okay, so next, build path, class path. So where your jar files are located, beans, context, core, expression, JCL. Okay, so go back and define the classes. So let me take a good package name, form dot something, delete dot something, beans dot setter injection. Okay, let me refine. Now, student is depending on the college or college is depending on the student? Yes, college is depending on the student. So let me define student class quickly here. Integer student ID, string name. Now can I use here the collections or maybe the collection data types, whatever we discussed in string, set values, list values, yes, you can do. You will configure student one with all those values. You can go with that kind of things. I will take one example so that you can practice in such a way. Okay. Okay. With respect to student, do we have any problem to configure in the XML file? No, it's an individual class, bean object, bean class. Let's create XML file first. Spring hyphen beans dot XML. Okay, so I just created a beans XML file now. Inside this bean, we have to configure. Yes, Nagaraj, you can write down in STS also. That is also Eclipse only. Okay, ID and followed by class. So ID we can give anything. Student one I will give. And class is all about the fully qualified class name is you have to take package name dot class name dot student. Okay, so here if you are configuring the values properties, then values will be injected, or else it will show only dummy values. I mean default values, not dummy values. Default values in the student one object level. Okay, so you can try that. Let me go with the class called as college. Okay, so let's take here again private string college name something private. What is this? Student I'm taking. So we need setter getters or not? Yes. To achieve setter injection, 100% setter method is required. So what I will do, set to student, even I will write down sys out here also. Okay, so we are setting student object, just writing a sys outs so that we can understand in the background what is happening. Now let's go back to the XML file. See what you observed from last 3-4 days. The entire concepts, whatever we are discussing, is it going in the XML file or is it going in the Java level? Yes, the concepts your entire whatever we are discussing, everything going around the XML file configuration. So XML file, that's what you just need to have a lot of things. Understand very carefully step by step, and please do practice. If you are getting small confusion, then it will make you confused in other places also. Okay, let's create. What is this? I'm going to create college object. Okay, fine. And I'm going to give college here. Okay, now tell me how many bean objects will be created? First question. Second question is, both bean objects will be created successfully or not? Second question. Two will be created and both will be created successfully. Are you going to get any problem? But you have student inside the college. Simple. It will create college object with the default constructor. It will give college name equal to null, student equal to null, but it will not show you any exception. Let me just test until this point. Then we will discuss Spring dependency injection setters of references. So here, just pass this XML file. Okay, let's execute. Even student level also, let's add a default constructor which is out. Okay, so come back here. Let me execute this. Total two bean objects will be created. One is student, one is college. So both are created. So you don't have any problem. Now, our intention is, our requirement is what? Injecting student into college level, how we are going to configure. So go to the college. So how many properties you have here? Total two properties. Assume you are injecting values for the two properties, college name as well as student information. If it is a college name, then what you are going, how you are going to configure? College name. Any problem with this? Directly you can use value and you can give the college name, whatever we want. Okay. So up to this, there is no problem. But when it comes to second property, the property is what? Student is the property. So go back. Yeah, give the property name here. But what about the value? So it's not a direct value, primitive value or string literal value. So we cannot directly use. So for that purpose, what Spring provided here? A ref attribute. So that means you're telling to the Spring framework. So when you're creating the college object, when you're creating the college bean object, okay, for this property called as, now my first point. So tell me in this case, are you going to see any problems? I deleted, okay, but only thing is setter injection will happen with respect to college or not? Yes, happen. But how many properties? Only one property called as college name. Only college name will be injected into college name. Then it is leaving student as it is and null value only. So, but I don't want to null. It has to initialize with a student object. So that means you are telling like, go and refer the which bean object? Yes. So student one, you have to provide here. You have to provide the, yeah. You have to provide ref attribute. Shortcut they given REF. So ref is what? Reference. So referring from the college, you are referring the student one object as a dependency. And that too, the dependency is injected by setter injection. Okay, now see, you're going to get either nulls or maybe the default values. I mean, the real values, what you given. So let's do one thing. Context dot get be I'm getting directly college object. So what is the college we given? Bean ID college. Okay, so it is going to give you object type. So you can typecast it as college. So from the college, I'm getting which object? Student object. Let's do one thing or else. First example, right? Yeah. Okay. So I'm getting student object from the college object. Get to student. So that means now generally our expect, okay, what will happen internally point of view? So this is what we given the beans configuration. Okay, so in this case, what it will do is it will create first a student object. In the container will create which object? Student one object it will create first. Because it's a individual object, it is not depending on any other things. Now what it will do, it will create college object. And whenever it is trying to create the college object, you given two values has to be injected into college object level. So first thing is it will create college name equal to null. So this is the actual process. And then student equal to null. So then based on the property tag, it will try to achieve setter injection and it will call setter method. And finally, this XYZ value will be moved to the, this is value are replaced into this college name level. Similarly, when it comes to student one, what you given ref equal to student one. So then what it will do is, okay, here you are saying like this student one object, okay, this student one object is belongs to this one. So you're saying like, please inject me student one object into this college object level. So now what internally container will do, container will refer. See, that's the meaning of word here. It is refer. Referring in the sense, whatever the object you are already available in the container memory level. Okay, assume it is located into a memory location 1, 2, 3, 4 or something like that. And it will assign that, it will refer that value as, okay, whenever you need student property value as a student object, go and refer the object which is located in the 1, 2, 3, 4 location, something memory location point of view I'm taking simple. Okay, is it injecting another copy or is it referring existing copy? Yes, that's the point I would like to make here. So it is referring existing copy. So that means whenever college is trying to access, college is trying to use student object internally, it is always trying to get, or it is always trying to use the student original object what you created with respect to student one point of view. But it is finally we are calling it as dependency injection. So here student is a dependency or not? Dependency to college. So this is what the, so that's why student object is injected into college level. So that means internally what it is doing, it is referring student one object from the variable called as student. Okay, so whether it is true or not, I will show you. Okay, first execute until this. So what happened here now? Student is created, college is created, we know that point because we created two bin configurations. What is this? Setting student in college. So that means which method is called? Setter method is called. Why it is called setter method internally? To set the student value inside the college object to achieve the setter injection. So that's why finally the value is injected or not. So from where you got this from, you extracted student object from the where? From the college object. College dot get student. Then with respect to this college dot get student in the sense, immediately it is going and giving this memory location to you. Now I would like to prove you whether whatever the reference it is having and whatever the original object created for the student one, both are referring the same location or both are okay maintaining different locations in the sense different copies. So I would like to show you. So then what I have to do? Get context address directly from the context. Sorry, student. Student one. Get directly from here. Then what object you will get? Student object you will get in this case. Caster to student. So now print this hash code value. Now in this case, what we did? You got student object individually from the application context. So whatever the value you see here and whatever the value printing here, both looks like both will be same. So observe here, what is this value? When you are getting student object from the container directly, the memory location, whatever you see, and whatever the value referred internally, okay, the student to college, that location is also same or not? Yes. So in this case, now what is the point you understood here? Is it like directly injecting another copy? Is it like maintaining another copy or another object with respect to college? Or is it just referring the college object? Yes, it is just referring the college object. For example, in the college, sorry, student level, ID you have right now 0, name equal to null. Okay, so tomorrow when you configure values for the student one property, okay, ID equal to 100, name equal to Dilip. So then values will become what here? ID will become one value, something like that, and null, okay, name will become Dilip. Now tell me in this scenario, if I access a student object via college, okay, and if I'm trying to get college dot get to student dot, okay, so I have 1 minute. Okay, let me do. So for example, see here, if I'm writing get name, so what is the value I will get? Student dot get name. In this specific scenario, null you will get, because the entire student itself, first of all, null, because you are not given any property tags, whether it is, okay, let's see null or not. So what you see? Null here. So that's fine. Now go to the XML file. I'm giving property tag name. So I given what there? Student name only, right? Yeah. And value something, a small value. I mean, I will provide a value also here. What happened? Yeah. So here double quotes, Eclipse problem. Okay. So I configured what value now? Name as part of the student one. So now in the name, what value you will see? Dilip Singh value you will see. And if you are getting like student dot, student one dot, get the name, what is the value it will give? Dilip value it will give. Even though you are getting college dot, get student dot, okay, get name, then what value you will see? Name only. So I mean Dilip only. So that means it is maintaining only one copy. Whatever the changes you are doing on the original object, that is indirectly, okay, referring or indirectly impacted at the college also. The dynamic values it is reflecting at the college level also. So in this case, let me write down here first before student point of view. Student dot get name only when you are getting student object directly from here, and with respect to, okay, I can write down like this also, right? College dot, yeah, it's already there, but still I would like to write down one more line. College dot get a student dot get a name. Okay, so the object from the college student, from the student, the name what it is there. Both the places, what the value we will see now? Yes, Dilip value we will see, same value we will see, right? So it's a injecting in the sense what it is happening guys here. Is it referring or is it okay injecting another copy? It's just referring the existing copy of student 1 to, okay, college level. So this is what happening here. Okay, so what we will do on top of this only, we need to understand few other examples also. We will discuss tomorrow. What we can do is in case if I have more than one student object, okay, how to do the reference? If I have more than one college object, so how can I deal with the references and all? We will take a couple of examples tomorrow also. Then we will move to the constructor. So almost we are done with the setter injection, guys. We are almost done. Just taking 2-3 examples with the 2-3 different use cases we will take setter injection tomorrow. But you are almost done with setter injection. Now constructor injection is just making only one point, and then you will understand constructor injection also very easily. It's almost same process. Setter injection time values are injected at what time? After object creation. Constructor injection is all about during object creation or while object creation. That's all. Constructor injection is also completed. Okay, only in property tag what you will use? Constructor argument is a different tag you have. The tag we will use, and the concept is the values are injected at constructor. Okay, the values are injected via constructor while object creation. So you have to write down a constructor. You have to use constructor argument. The values are injected at what time? Object creation time. The constructor will be executed. That is all about the constructor injection. But we will take every example, primitives wise, string wise, and every example I will cover. But the in detail, whatever you covered, I covered here, it is going to help you in the constructor injection to complete it very quickly. Okay. So that